Just a short way inland from the north coast of the island of Monserrat in the Caribbean Sea is a range of hills covered in dense tropical forest, a vegetation type found all around the world close to the equator. This bright green forest cover once gave Monserrat the label Emerald Isle. The island was for years a well-kept secret, and, much to the relief of most of the locals, had not yet been totally invaded by tourism, like so many spots in the Caribbean region. There was one feature in the island's landscape, though, that outsiders knew quite well. This mountain, the Soufriere Hills volcano. It had been studied at great length by geologists. They had found it to be mostly peaceful and well-behaved. Until, that is, a day in April 1995, when people heard a noise they couldn't quite understand.
So when the rumblings first began, we thought it was an airplane, like a jet, flying over the area.
Rose Willock, the island's best-known radio presenter, was there on that day.
This went on for a number of minutes, about half an hour, this constant thing. And we were wondering, why is that airplane staying so long in the area, you know? And then my neighbor's children came over, and they said, Rose, 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 don't you hear? They said the volcano is erupting. I said, get out of here. Go and do your homework, you know?
The change in the volcano's behavior took the island completely by surprise. It was the beginning of the longest-lasting sequence of volcanic eruptions the Earth has known in recent times. And like all volcanic eruptions, there are definite reasons as to why and where it occurred. The Earth looks like a very solid object. But this is actually only true for the Earth's crust. Below the crust, in the Earth's mantle, temperatures are so high that all the rocks are molten. And that molten material, called magma, is constantly on the move. Above the mantle, the crust is broken up into a number of segments called plates. Often at the boundary between two plates, the magma reaches the Earth's surface as lava. This is what is happening in Monserrat. One plate is being dragged down beneath another. The rocks melt, and the molten material forces its way upwards, causing volcanic eruptions. It soon became obvious that as far as eruptions go, the Monserrat version was one of the most violent variety. The lava from some volcanoes flows at walking speed. Not so that of Monserrat. Here, the lava builds up under enormous pressure until it collapses under its own weight. This kind of lava doesn't flow. It cracks and splinters before hurling itself downwards as a pyroclastic flow. One of the deadliest forces in nature. In Monserrat, the flows reach temperatures of 600 degrees Celsius and speeds of 120 kilometers an hour. The islanders had never seen the likes of this before. During the eruptions, the people had to grapple day by day with the most mind-blowing decisions. Stay put and take a chance, or give up and flee for your life.
We didn't know what a volcano would do, apart from what we read and have seen on film and that sort of thing.
Gas, dust, and blinding smoke filled the air during days of never knowing what the volcano was going to do next.
That's when we really got in a tither. I have to say got in a tither, because by that time people were like, oh my God, the volcano is erupting. It was so intense, it was so big that people really got scared at this time. And by the end of the day, about 2,000 people had left the island.
2 years after the first explosions came the worst blow. In June 1997, huge chunks of the lava dome gave way and piled down in another pyroclastic flow. 19 people had been killed, most of them burnt to death in the flows, and hundreds of others were made homeless.
This is where I was on June 25th when we had this major pyroclastic flow. I happened to be sitting right about this part of the building. It has three major colors. It's black, white, and red, mostly black. And it tends to curl in the air as it moves. It curls and like it wobbles. It does that all the time.
By the year 2000, such was the devastation and the danger from future eruptions that the southern part of Monserrat was declared an exclusion zone. People who lived in it had to move to the north of the island, or, as 9,000 people decided to, move abroad. 2/3 of the country had been closed down. In fact, there was a point recently when the government thought the whole island might have to be evacuated. The behaviour of the volcano posed such a threat that there was a chance that Monserrat would end up as a ghost island. For 18-year-old Sam Farrell and his family, it is the 4th time the behaviour of the volcano has forced them to leave home. Currently, he lives with 40 others in what's called a shelter. In this case, a low-security prison that was shut down and converted for its new purpose. The last move, just a few weeks ago, was one that Sam and the others thought they would never have to make.
When we had to move, I thought, well, here we go again. Another piece of moving that I don't really want to do, but according to the scientists, you have to.
Young Monserratians like Sam have become experts at making the best out of a bad situation.
All right, put on boots, go ahead, put them on.
And today, life in the shelter has an extra lift. The boots are a present from Sam's mother. She's been living in England since the big eruption in 1995. Not knowing what to expect from the volcano makes it very difficult for people to know whether to stay put or to leave. For Sam, time to decide is running out. To go abroad looks more and more like the best option.
I would say if it has like the stuff that I need to actually project myself forward, but they haven't got it. For instance, you haven't got any like colleges, stuff like that on the island, so you gotta move, go overseas.
Sam's grandfather, John Farrell, lives in the same shelter. For the last 8 years, the erratic behaviour of the volcano has wrecked all the plans he has tried to make. With the last change in the boundary of the exclusion zone, he had to leave his family house and a small building business. His only current income is from a couple of fields of fruit and vegetables. Not surprisingly, he is almost haunted by the volcano. He's made a collection of photos that tell the story of the amazing course of events.
This is Plymouth. This was a church. This is a stone from the volcano, right up there. We had these people killed from the volcano. This is a friend of mine. He goes to the same church.
Now, for the people of Montserrat, this is not a time for us to look back. We will always remember whatever we had in the south of the island will remain in our hearts. This is a time for moving on, for looking forward, for planning ahead, for taking on all the challenges that go with this. And we will do it. We will move on.